Hello and welcome back to the series. EXP here, and you join me on episode 2 of unicraft. And in front of me I have the start of my storage unit, which we'll look at in a second, and then we'll discuss what we're doing with today's episode. If you remember from last week what we said we was going to do, we probably will be doing at least half of that, seeing as I've already built that. And yeah, there's some farms I need to set up, and we need to head over to spawn and set up a shop. So that's everything that's about to happen. So I should probably start doing it, shouldn't I? Yes. So this storage system is a slight modification on the one by El Hadran, which I used before in my single player world. Well, at least this part, because I absolutely love this design, this bit down here. And this, I don't need box loaders just yet, so this is just your standard item filters, which are very close to the one he set up. But we've got a bubble elevator here rather than a dropper chute, and I haven't done the input yet, but I'll just explain briefly what this is doing, because it's an awful lot going on down here. So basically, each one of these is codable. So it's not to the point where it's like encoded multi-item sorting. It is literally just push based. So the only thing that can go in this slot is grass blocks. If I want more grass blocks, I'll just place another one, which is why I've got 3 cactuses here. All these will be for the variations of stone, while stone itself ends up in here. I'll probably need a second one for cobble, but I'm not going to need all the cobble bits, only a few, so I'm going to put ore in here. Basically, I'm just going through and working out what I want where for the time being. I'm not quite sure what to do about wood as well. Over here we've got cobble deep slate, and this is regular deep slate, which I mine accidentally sometimes. But yeah, as I said, this works by the input chest here. We put the items in, and it tries to push it into the first chest. Can't do it, so it moves along to the next. Can't do it, moves all the way along till it finds a place it can actually put it in. And when it does find a place it can put it in, as you can see, it starts filtering in. And once that filled up, it'll go on to the next one, which I can't remember how much I put in there. And if it can't find it, if it can't be pushed into any of these, it'll make its way to this bubble elevator, which will then send it into the regular filtering system, which is just the bulk storage kind of thingy dooley mabob. And up here it's just a simple chest to align it, and it will go in. I've added a delay here, which means even though the items are coming in one by one, so it probably isn't needed because it's already at hopper speed as it enters the dropper, I figured just in case I'll slow it down a bit, and it shouldn't be any issue of timer hop out either. So it's a relatively slow system. It's just under hopper speed, but it does what I need it to for an early game storage system. Over here we've got, what's it called? Overflow. That was just left over from there. And yeah, so I'll link the original design down in the comments, and I'll put that thing in the corner. In fact, it's probably already been up in the corner because I'll probably have done it earlier, but I'll put it up again just because. And now we're gonna decorate this and put what I need in these parts. Yeah, well, that doesn't look too bad now, does it? It's a bit plain, but you know, it does the thing. I've got all my items that I expect to put in place. I've got my filters in place, so dirt, stone, all these things. And I've also made quite a bit of progress on this, which it might look a bit daunting up there. Yeah, I was hoping to have this looking a bit nicer, and I was hoping to come up with my own design for the kelp farms that I'm putting up here, but the more I was doing it, I was complicating the redstone a lot more than I needed to, so I did the standard, what everyone knows what to do, observer and piston spam. And we're about to fill it up with water soon, but first of all I need to finish this top 2 layers, so we don't want any leaking. And the reason you've got to go 1 layer above is so that the water flows along the top and isn't turned into source blocks, basically. So this layer of water up here will continuously push it that way. Hold on, how many have we got here? Because if this is more than 10, isn't it? So, yeah, so I'm going to have it pushed this way. That will become problematic. I hadn't thought about that. No, I'll push it to the front actually. No harm, no foul. You know, there's a reason we do things in a certain order, and I've just had to sponge the entire of this because I need every single side of this to be made out of a waterloggable block. Because if I don't, then everything idles, like it was. So now we've got to redesign this, and there it is, all finished and completed. Oh, that was a mission, and a lot more stress than I wanted it to be, which is why this is taking forever to come out, but we live and we learn. Right, so that's the two systems in place. As you can see, I replaced the front of this one yet again because it wasn't doing what I needed it to down here, so I had to replace them with stairs, and it just looked ugly. So we just covered it all up, and then we're going to decorate it after. So what this does is it pushes the kelp up and over into these, down into this smoker, which this smoker then smokes them, which I can lock, so I can collect the XP if need be, because this one's going to be running for a long time, just constantly basically. And they go down into here, which is the same system I've used everywhere, and pushes a kelp block up and over to then go back into the smoker through this hopper, which, as you can see, gets full. 62, that's not a good number. I'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, I've blocked it off just so there is a magazine of constant kelp. Now this should never go down too much from 64 because I should be burning more, but every time I restart, it's going to be a little bit different. So that's 63, that should be back up to 64 later, we'll double check. And then the overflow comes into here, which we've already got 2 and the majority of a stack going, which that will then be the magazine for my super smelter down there. I had to add these 2 modules, which are just single modules of a slightly bigger kelp farm, as in they grow to about 3 and then pushes them up, over, same thing. I redid the redstone a little bit over here, it's just concertinaed slightly, which means they all fire independently now rather than every single one. There it goes, which may be why the results are a little bit different. But yeah, I had to add these in simply because I wasn't getting enough kelp in here, so I was wasting a lot, because I would get about 1 1/4 to 1.5 blocks of dried kelp per dried kelp block, when it should be 2 + 1 dried kelp, and so it wasn't self-replicating. But now it is, and it should, for the most part, fill itself back up before it uses it, which we'll see very shortly, I think. Yep, so that's going to go in there. That's going to hit here. We're now at 64. And we should hopefully get, yeah, we've got 10 in there. So we've already gone to get the next one, which is going to go into the overfill next. So yeah, it is keeping up just about. Occasionally it runs low. I've also added this little system here, just on this side, which allows me to fill this with bone meal, which feeds into a dispenser, which is just going to force the 1 lot of kelp up constantly. It's going to constantly break, and just basically force feed kelp into the system if need be, which I can lock this on so that it doesn't fire when there's something in there. The clock will still be active, but it won't fire, meaning I can allow it to fill that, and fill that. So it is going to be a very quick activation, rather than having to wait for the dispenser to fill and going at hopper speed, because that isn't ideal. Don't think it really makes that much of a difference. But yeah, as you can see, we've just swapped to another block. It's automatically taken one. This is going to fill again very shortly. Yep. Yeah, so overall we are getting blocks in here, and as long as we're getting blocks in here at a constant, so as long as one of these, every time one of these goes, we should have at least 1 more in here. That's the basic math in a very basic pattern. But now we need to go and decorate this, because at the moment it is a, well, it's not very pretty, is it? Well, it does look a little bit like a certain body part, so that may be what I go and decorate it with. We'll see. Now, the other thing that I wanted to get done this episode was to tear out one of these trial chambers. So that's what we're going to start doing now. And while I do, I thought I'd just give an off-the-cuff, it's not really a monologue, I suppose maybe it is, on my experience with SMPs and what's led me to where I am today, just generally with content creation and the likes. So bear with me, this is probably going to be a little bit cut and dry, just randomly cut. You know, I might be in and out of combat, I might be in and out of mining. We'll see how it takes me. But yeah, in we go, and let's begin. So, the first SMP I ever joined was, what was it called now? It was a Fallout roleplay one, which was, you know, I met a bunch of friends there, and they're still going, but I don't know, it was just, the vibe I had was less Minecrafty and more roleplay. And although I still talk to the guys on there occasionally, I don't really play with them anymore, although I wish them all the best. I can't really say anything bad about them. Like, there was one guy on there who I talk to every now and again, that was Ben. He showed me a lot of the tech stuff to do with Minecraft, which is where basically my love of Minecraft kind of evolved into. But he got banned because he wasn't a fan of the way the server was going, and then I kind of flitted in and out from that point on. But yeah, that was the first one. And after that, I then moved on to, I would say, the main one I played on for a while, which was 2TMC. And that's where I met Silent and a lot of the people that play on this one to this day. And without going into too much detail about things, you know, I made a lot of friends there, and yeah, as I said, we all still play together. But the owner himself was a different story. He was very intense, to say the least, which I've said before. He was the kind of person that took his role as a server owner very like a monarch would. Very much, this is my server and you're playing on my server. Anything I do is therefore fair game, and if you've got a problem with it, then leave. So a lot of us left. Now, generally speaking, he wasn't a good person, I don't think. He wasn't in the right kind of person you want to be on a server with. And there was accusations of harassment, which I can't go into because I'm not going to tell you the ins and outs. Like, it's not me who was harassed. So it is not me to say what happened. This may become problematic very quickly. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, he was a bit much for everyone. So we ended up leaving. He'd also talked a few times about how, like, he'd had a falling out with the previous owner for someone he did before, and yeah, things just weren't adding up, like kind of pincushion. And so we parted ways with that server, and for a while we all played on this one together, but it didn't really go anywhere. Everyone was kind of feeling the effects of burnout. No one particularly wanted to play at the time, and so we all kind of drifted away. Me and Silent, we remained friends, and we joined a few others. And yeah, the next main one that we focused on was Hexacom, which was, again, a really good server. No faults there, but that kind of fell by the wayside. People weren't playing, basically. Despite best efforts of the staff that were running it, people just weren't playing. I think it was just a period of time where people had enough of Minecraft, you know, and there wasn't much change in the game. And yeah, everyone was off doing other things. So that server started a modded server and kind of abandoned the vanilla one. Even though it wasn't vanilla, it was a Terralith server, but it was definitely geared more towards vanilla. And yeah, it was just, there was no one playing, so me and Silent were just there on our own most of the time, and it became just another me and Silent and no one else playing, so we didn't hang around. After that, me and Silent were still talking, but Silent was playing Stardew, no one was really playing SMPs anymore, so we kind of left it at that. And I went off to try Campcraft, which I found on YouTube, and it seemed very promising, which was this SMP that's geared towards creators and wanting to create videos, which in concept was a very good idea, but I do think that a few safety elements were overlooked during the setting up of it, and so it's ended up being a little bit problematic for myself and another member, which is Waxadoodle, who you've probably seen here and there on this server, which we invited along. Seems to get away from there now. I've got absolutely no bad connotations, I suppose would be the word, bad connections with Campcraft. Just it wasn't what I was expecting. It wasn't how it was advertised, and I think it will get there. I do think it's a good concept, and I wish it all the best. But it's not where I need to be right now. But if you're thinking about getting into content creation, making YouTube videos and such, then I would recommend joining Campcraft, and hopefully you won't run into the same issues that we had, because hopefully they've got a few more safeguards in place. I mean, I don't even know if they're taking applications at the moment, but if they are, definitely check it out. And then finally, as we're probably running up onto the 30-minute timer of ripping this room out, we have this one, which is Silence SMP. It's actually called Unicraft, I think was the name we finished upon. But I just call it Silence SMP because it's Silence SMP. She's hosting it, and yeah, we're all friends here and we all play, and I just figured, why not attempt to record on here? You know, I'll get along with everyone, like we all know each other's deal, so there's no reason not to. So here I am, tearing out copper on an SMP, talking to you about my experience with SMPs. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I manage one room. I thought this would be going on a bit longer than this. And just like a tech bro, after my latest startup has failed, I've grabbed as much copper out of the building I'm willing to risk in this half an hour, and I am out of here. And with all that said, the one thing that kind of always rings true is something Exumavoid Shishwami said about Hermitcraft, is a lot of people ask him if they can join or how they can go about making their own Hermitcraft, and it always comes down to the fact that without friends there is no Hermitcraft. Like that's how it runs. The server needs to be symbiotic with its members. You know, you want good activity in the server, and you want harmony outside of the server. So you're never going to find a perfect balance unless you actually put the effort in yourself, which is, I think, what we found here. I can't say it'll last long term. This might be a 2-week thing, 2-month thing, or it's the kind of thing that we continue on indefinitely. Who knows? Anyway, on to the spoils of that little trip. We have a little bit of tuff. This isn't too important. The important thing is all this copper, which is what we're going to use to decorate this in a second. And then the little bits of loot, which I'll probably do something with. Anyway, now the replay mod has updated. Time-lapse time. Whoop! Right, well, that's the lungs now up and running and ready to go and all built. And during that time lapse, I don't know if you ever noticed me stopping and searching and wondering what the hell is actually going on. It is because someone has been playing a prank on me somewhere. There he is. Did you hear that? Round here somewhere, there is... There. That is what we're looking for. That was incredibly annoying. And whoever did it will be... I don't know. I don't quite know what I'm going to do yet. But I'll do... There'll be a prank somewhere along the lines. Why won't this break? How many of them is there? Wait, is this... Okay, we got there. We got there. Oh. Anyway, with that out of the way, what did you think? Did you enjoy my lungs? I really enjoyed building them. It was a bit touch and go to begin with. Like, it felt like that I was building some giant beans in the sky. But now that the brachia and bronchia and... I don't know, lung veins? Yeah, all the different branches are in place. It looks a lot better. It looks less bean-like. And time to head to spawn. Because we need to set up a shop. And by set up a shop, I mean I've already set up a shop, but you haven't seen it yet. And we need to put the finishing touches on it. So I'm running to my old portal. I'll move my portal up here. And yeah, I still keep going to run to the village. Oi. Let's just do a Joe Hill special and time skip. You'll have to excuse me and how I sound. It's currently the morning of the day I plan on uploading this, but thanks to hay fever deciding to play me up, which it's never done in my life before, maybe once, but I'm not normally a sufferer of it. But yeah, I'm all congested and my eyes are leaking, so this may be a bit of a rougher recording, but I need to get this video out and we're very nearly done. So, welcome back to spawn, kind of. Spawn's over there. That's the spawn area with Almighty Bob's lovely tree in the background, Waxadoodle's lighthouse, and a few other builds. But this is the shopping area, or shopping district of the recently become known. Oh, we still need to do silence third. That's something relevant. Anyway, let me take you through to my shop, which, like I said, I've already built, and we just need to finish setting up. It's just up here, over the peninsula, and across into the ranch. We're still stuck on the name. Like, I want to name it something, no one else will let me name it because, well, they're just being big meanies. But yes, this is the ranch. This is the de-lemoning service with 2 very good horses. Not fully, yeah, but you know, they're good enough. Over here we've got saddles, we've got leads. I'm also selling asses. So if you want to buy my ass, it's 5 diamond blocks per ass. They come with their own saddle, they come with their own chest. Just in case, you know, we don't have shulker boxes yet, so this is a very viable alternative. That's the plan I'm sticking to. Over here I've got complimentary dyes, and that's because we are selling wolf armour. 1 diamond block per armour, and I've changed the sign. I need to change that then. No, I'll just change the name of that one actually, because it's a bit expensive. We've got horse armour here. That's gold is 1 diamond, iron is 5 diamond, and diamond is 1 diamond block. That's just my extra stuff. Payments in here. No one's bought anything yet because they're all big meanies. This is a big pile of something we're going to ignore because, I mean, it's a stables. It's, yeah, you can probably smell it coming through the screen. Lovely. But over here is what we're going to work on for the last bit of this video. Over here we have the jump test, which I've just gone the 2 blocks. If anything's lower than 2 blocks, it's what are you doing with your life horse? You're barely a horse. You don't... No, it's just not good enough. So then we've got 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Then we went for a quarter, half, 3/4, and finally the holy grail, the 5 jump block. But we've also got this runway, which we're going to set up a speed tester. Now, I've been checking online for speed testers, and there's a few different ones. But the one I'm going to use is by Unicraft, so I'll link the video up in that cornery thing up there, and down in the description as well. We may end up editing it if we want to use the cobweb method, which, to be honest, combining this particular farm with the cobweb method is probably a good idea, just for that little bit more accuracy. But we'll set this up and then I'll explain how it works, unless you just want to go and watch their video of them setting it up and explaining how it works as well, which you should do because that's less rude. and then we'll wrap the video up. So that's that done. So we're just going to take our friend Hugh here down to the track, and I can show you a brief explanation of what's going on. Now, the first thing we need is to fill this with sticks. Plonk you there for a second. And here's what's going to happen next. So we take our trusty steed, we line ourselves up here, and we run. And that pushes that redstone block, unlocking the hopper, not the hopper minecart, and allowing the sticks to flow through. And then when we come through, we lock it again. And that is literally all it is. It's a very, very clever design. Now, there are more accurate ways of testing it, but this is, in my opinion, probably the best and easiest, simply because we don't need a very accurate one, but with how fast they travel into here, we know it's going to be quite accurate, down to, what is it now? If this is 4 times hopper speed, I believe, is it? So that's 1 tick per game tick. No, 1 stick per game tick, I think. I might be right. Correct me down below in the comments if I am wrong on the speed. But it means that means for 20 sticks, it is 1 second, which is very fast, meaning we can do it down to a 20th of a second. Right. And that is everything I wanted to do today. I really appreciate this design by Bjork Minecraft, which I'll leave down below, like I said before. And if you've enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving a like, maybe even subscribe. You know, I'm not going to make you, but it'd be nice if you did. Kind of rude that you didn't, actually. Can't believe you wouldn't do that. You're making Hugh quite upset. Anyway, with that out of the way, I do appreciate you all being here, and I hope to see you next time. For now, ta-ra a bit.